Hello, everybody, and welcome to my channel. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Gray Warden, and today we are going to be playing Marvel Legendary. If you don't know what Legendary is, it is a cooperative deck building game where you work together to fight a big bad mastermind from the Marvel Universe who is trying to complete an evil scheme. You're going to use heroes like Captain America and Thor to build a deck as you play and stop their goals before they have a chance to complete them. We're going to go through how you play today, and then I will be starting a series of games where I play through every set in release order for Marvel Legendary. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get going. So the first big thing you're going to want to know about when you start this game is who you're fighting. There are 4 Masterminds that come in the base set. There is Magneto, Red Skull, Loki, and Doctor Doom. Big Marvel names. Now, these are your masterminds, how the card looks. On the top, it's going to tell you who it is. In this case, it's Magneto. It tells you that it's a mastermind card. They have a thing called Always Leads, which tells you what villain group that they choose to bring into the fight with you. And then they have a Master Strike ability, which is what they do when the game decides that it's the time for the Mastermind to take action. And then how much attack the Mastermind has, how strong they are, and how many points the Mastermind is worth. Each Mastermind comes with 4 tactics. When you fight them, you gain one of the tactics and do a special ability. Now the next thing is the scheme that they are trying to accomplish. In this case, you have Unleash the Power of the Cosmic Cube. It tells you how to set up with how many twists. Scheme twists are very similar to Master Strikes, but instead of telling you what the Mastermind does, it's telling you what the scheme is doing. Most of the time, it will be attached to some kind of win condition for the bad guys. If you can't beat them in time and evil wins, then all players lose. Now let's go over the cards that you're going to be using. There are 2 big resources in this game. There is Attack Power, shown with these 3 little scratch marks. And there is Recruit Power, shown by these stars. You're going to be using these. Attack is to attack bad guys. Recruit is to pick up more heroes as you play. In the very beginning of the game, you're going to start with a deck of 12 cards that consists of 8 shield agents, which give you recruit, and 4 shield troopers, which give you attack. At the beginning of the game, you're going to have 6 cards in your hand to begin with. And every turn, at the end of your turn, you will discard all cards in your hand and draw 6 new ones. You're going to have a hero deck right here full of all of the heroes you're using. You're going to populate this little space down here with the 5 heroes at the beginning of the game. Now, each one of these is unique in their own way as far as how the characters work and how their abilities are. And you're going to have 14 of each kind of hero mixed in different styles of cards. If you notice, these are also different colors than the main ones I started with. That's because they have what are called classes. This is to kind of set them apart a little bit more even. Red is to represent covert. Blue is to represent range. Yellow is to represent instinct. Black is to represent tech. And green is to represent strength. Now, one of my favorite things about these cards is that if you look at those letters together, I'm sure they planned this out. CRITS. It spells crits, like critical hits. Awesome play there. All right, so if you notice, each of these has different things going on with them as well. So on a hero card, here's the things to notice. It tells you the name of the card and then what hero it belongs to. In this case, is Stack the Deck from Gambit. They have a team affiliation. In this case, it's going to be X-Men. And then what class they are. This is a covert. This down here is how much they cost. So it's going to take you 2 recruit points to be able to buy this. When you buy a hero, you put it in your discard pile, and then when you run out of cards in your deck, you shuffle your discard pile in, forming a brand new deck, and you keep going from there, so anything you've recently bought goes into your deck. They also have different abilities. So like this one says, draw 2 cards, then put a card from your hand on top of your deck. If it just says an ability, it means you do it as soon as you play the card. Some of them are going to have a little bit more complicated abilities, and some of them are really simple. And you have guys like this that have attack symbols as well. And like he says, to play this card, you must discard a card. So you're trading out another card for him. They will also sometimes have recruit symbols as well. This one says reveal the top card of your deck. If it costs 2 or less, draw it. So he would help you draw more cards instead of trading them. Then you have symbols like this. On Wolverine, it shows a little yellow instinct symbol and then says draw 2 cards. This is called a superpower. What this means is you need to play another yellow before you can use this ability. So even if you play 2 of these guys, only the second one will work because the first one did not have a yellow played beforehand. Now, if you ever are looking at these characters and you either don't have enough recruit to buy them or you don't want any of the ones down here, there's always going to be another option called a shield officer. These cost 3, are always available, and always have 2 recruit. They're just a very basic character to kind of help you get more stuff down the road. Now we're going to go over the villain deck. The villain deck consists of villains, henchmen, master strikes, scheme twists, and bystanders. We'll go over each one by one. So this is a villain. Every turn, you're going to play a card from the villain deck, and if it's a villain, it enters the city. The city has 5 spaces called the sewers, bank, rooftops, streets, and bridge. So when you play the card, it's going to enter the city. Then if you play another card from the villain deck next turn, and this one is still here, it moves over. So I'm going to show you a couple example turns while still explaining the cards. So to begin with, we had 6 cards in our hand. We played this character. Now, I have 3 attack power and 3 recruit power. I can't do anything with my attack yet because this guy has 5 attack. So this means that I can't fight him unless I have 5 attack. However, I can buy or recruit a hero that has 3 recruit or less. If I have any extra, it does not carry over to the next turn. In this case, I'm going to buy this Nick Fury right here that shows a tech symbol. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to put it in my discard pile. And then I'm going to take all of these guys, even the ones I didn't use, and I'm going to discard them. I'm going to refill any space that I grabbed the hero from right away. And then at the end of my turn, I draw 6 new cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then, at the beginning of my next turn, I'm going to play another card from the villain deck. It was another villain, so it moves this over 1 space. Now this one is a henchman. They're a little bit weaker, and usually their abilities kind of help you out. And there's 10 identical ones of them. So in this turn, I have 5 recruit and only 1 attack. So I'm not going to be able to attack anything still. But with my 5 recruit, I'm going to take this Wolverine right here. So I put that in my discard. Refill the space. Oh, that's a really strong one. It costs 8 to recruit it. Then I'm going to shuffle all the cards from my discard pile and to make a new deck. And I'm going to draw 6 more cards again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I'm going to play another card from the villain deck, and it moves those over again. There's something a little different with this turn because I finally have 3 attack this turn, so I can actually fight one of these bad guys. So what I'm going to do, I take this 3 attack and I'm going to fight this guy. Now on here, he has an ability called Fight. This means when you fight him, you complete this ability. In this case, this one says when you draw a new hand of cards at the end of the turn, draw an extra card. So instead of drawing 6 at the end of this turn, I'm going to draw 7. The other thing is he has 1 victory point. This means at the end of the game, he's worth 1 point because I beat him. So I'm going to put him in something called a victory pile and save it. Now I have 4 more recruit that I can use. For the sake of just continuing things, I'm not going to worry about recruiting more stuff at this time. So then the next turn, I'm going to flip another card. This guy has an ability called Ambush. Ambush means it happens as soon as the character enters the city. So he has an ability that says, Ambush, each player KOs 2 heroes from their discard pile. What does KO mean? It means you put them in a stack called the KO pile, and they cannot be used again. It's like they were killed off. So each turn, you're going to keep playing cards from the villain deck. And sometimes you're going to end up with a full city. You have all 5 spaces filled and with villains. So what happens when you play another villain? You would push one out of the city and it would escape, and you would still move everything over. Now, a couple things happen when a villain escapes. If they have an ability that says escape, you would complete that ability. In this case, his escape ability is the same as his fight, which says each person reveals an X-Men hero or gains a wound. Now, a wound is a card that is basically just to be in the way. It represents you being hurt, and it does nothing except for take up space in your deck. If you don't do anything on your turn, no recruit, no attack, you can choose to use its healing ability, however, and KO all wounds in your hand. Otherwise, it just takes the place of one of your cards, and it gets in the way. Now, there are these things called bystanders that will sometimes come out of the villain deck as well. They're just innocent people that need to be saved, and they're captured by the closest villain to the villain deck. When you fight that villain, then you save that bystander as well and put them in your victory pile. They're worth 1 point. Sometimes from the villain deck, you're going to pull... Oh, that's the extra villain that pushes those guys out. Sometimes from the villain deck, you're going to pull what's called a scheme twist. This is what tells you what these do. In this particular case, it tells you to put it next to the scheme. For scheme twists 1 through 4, nothing happens. 5 and 6, however, give each player a wound. Number 7 gives each player 3 wounds. And if you draw twist number 8, that means the villains win and all the players lose. So in this case, you want to defeat Magneto before that happens. There's also Master Strikes. A Master Strike tells you that the Mastermind does his ability. In this particular case, Magneto says each player reveals an X-Men hero or discards down to 4 cards. This represents Magneto stepping in and dealing damage himself. Those are the basics of the game. You're going to keep fighting the bad guy until you defeat all 4 of his tactics, and then good wins. A lot of players, including myself, also like to play with a rule called Final Blow. What this means is that you have to defeat the Mastermind one last time before he can be counted as defeated. You've gotten rid of all of his tactics, now you need to fight him, and that's how you win the game. I will be playing that way whenever I play. If you have any other questions or comments, feel free to leave a comment down below. I'm always happy to answer anything or chat with anybody about this game. It is one of my favorite games in existence. I hope to see you next time when I start playing my expansion league. Thanks guys for watching, and have a great day.